I don't think that I'm alive anymore. I mean, I can feel the keys of the laptop beneath my fingertips. I'm conscious, but there is no blood in my veins. When I lift my fingers to my neck, there is no pulse. Let me explain. It's best if I start from the beginning. I was standing in the hallway leading to the break room at work, looking at the poster showing open positions in other departments. Overnights hung there in large bold letters. You aren't really thinking about it, are you? Greg asked me. He was a cart pusher, just like I was. He was this acne-ridden scrawny teen, a couple years younger than me, with a complete lack of filter. He was also a very good friend, and despite his mouth, not terrible company. More than thought about it. Didn't he, I tell you? I start tomorrow. Greg frowned a little. Leaving me so soon? Come on, you know it's not like that. Do you know how much of a pay boost I'll be getting? Everyone on overnights quit at once, except Dave, and he has been here longer than I've been alive. Is that really what you want to get into? I scoffed. Everyone quit because the last manager had a toddler-level meltdown. Dave is the manager now. I'm not too worried. As we were talking, I almost didn't notice her. She would have passed me straight by had she not stopped. Alex? I heard a familiar voice say. I turned and saw her. My voice caught in my throat. She was pretty. Short dark hair, a sweater with the angriest and most incomprehensible death metal logo I have ever seen, and... Carrie? I asked, bewildered. She nodded. I almost didn't recognize you. Yeah. Had a bit of a makeover since high school. I'm glad to see you again. Me too. I stammered out, maybe a little too loud. W, what are you doing here? Job opening, she replied, her thumb pointing to the poster I was just looking at. Me and Mark broke up last week. Rent's getting harder to pay, so she waves both arms. Cool, I say, then immediately regret the decision. Cool. Her boyfriend dumped her and she is having trouble paying rent. What is cool about that? You're an idiot. She'll know you're an idiot. I'll be starting overnights tomorrow actually. Maybe we'll work together. I'd do like that, she said. I melted. She giggled and walked past me towards the break room. See you tomorrow, Alex. Who was that? Greg asked. Carrie. She was my high school crush. She looked way different back then though. I had actually known her since elementary school. Something happened in middle school with her mom, and a month later it was like she was a totally different person. The person I saw today looked far more like the one I had grown up with than the one I knew in high school. Sounds like she is available. Do you need a wingman? Greg nudged me. I laughed. Greg, I don't think you'd be helping me, I teased. The loudspeaker let out a jingle. Courtesy clerk needed to the front for customer assistance, the voice said over the speaker. Rachel is up there. She can handle it, Greg said. It wouldn't hurt to check. After what happened last time, Rachel burst through the doors and down the hallway towards us, whistling and smacking her hip hard enough to hurt. Rachel had Tourette's. He back, she said, her tone urgent. Who? Greg asked, as if we didn't both know the answer. The old guy from before. Did you say what you did last time? Greg asked. Rachel shrunk a little. You didn't mean it then and you don't mean it now, I said. I'll handle it, like I did last time. Rachel smiled a little. The spastic smacking of her arm against her stomach slowed. The word perv may have been just a verbal tick, a misfired synapse, but it was damned accurate. Rachel was 18, a year younger than me. Around this time of night, an older customer who looked to be around 70 years old would request her to help him pack his groceries in his car. This wouldn't be so concerning if he didn't also spend nearly the entire time shopping staring at her, grinning every time she let out a verbal tick. She let out a particularly dirty string of words last time, completely against her own volition. He just smiled wider. It gave me the creeps. I helped him to his car last time. He seemed gravely disappointed. I was sure he would be just as unhappy to see me this time, but I didn't care. I walked out onto the floor, down past the home goods section, towards the front-end registers. There he was, in his shriveled, wrinkled, frail glory. What can I help you with? I asked. Bill, the front manager, scowled at me. Actually, he wanted Rachel, Bill said, not hiding the annoyance in his voice. Bill never believed Rachel had Tourette's. Bill was one of those special people who didn't believe in any disability that wasn't physical. Well, he is getting me today. There was an awkward silence before the old man nodded. I took his cart, and we walked together into the cold, dark parking lot. He was parked in the spot with the dead camera and the dead street lamp, which did not improve my opinion of him in the slightest. The squeaking of the cartwheels halted as we approached the trunk of his vehicle, a white windowless van. Real sketchy, I thought to myself. The old man, hunched and decrepit, put one shaking hand into his pocket and produced a set of keys. The keys rattled in his shaky hands as he inched them towards the lock. He turned the key and the van's doors swung wide open. It was one huge empty space, dark and foreboding. A shiver went through me. I quickly composed myself. I wasn't the target, and anything short of him pulling a gun on me would be something I could handle. The man looked like he could barely walk. I put the groceries in one bag at a time. I couldn't help but notice that there was no food in the cart. It was all toiletries and housewares. Something felt terribly off about that. As the last bag entered the van, I turned around and almost didn't recognize the man standing behind me. He was no longer the slouched, decrepit old man. His posture was different. His back was straight. His hands were steady. His eyes shone red in the moonlight. I think I'll go now, I stammered, my earlier bravado quickly dissolving. Have a nice night, sir. I don't think you're going anywhere, he growled in a voice that should not belong to a human being, let alone one so old. He lunged at me, biting down on my neck. I wanted to scream. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. I felt the skin of my neck break. It didn't hurt, but the sensation of blood leaking out was horrifying. His tongue pressed against the wound, lapping up every crimson drop. I grew faint, then fell unconscious. My head was pounding. My arms dangled somewhere beneath me. My neck felt wet. My hair was drenched. My eyes refused to open. My ankles burned, constrained by something I could not see. Something sweet and coppery assaulted my nostrils. I was so very cold. I lifted a hand up to my neck, the movement much harder than I anticipated. It occurred to me then that I was hanging upside down. As my fingers brushed my throat, I felt a gap where the liquid was spilling out. It was deep, so much so that I felt bone. I inhaled and felt liquid in the back of my throat. I could taste it spilling down into my tongue. It was sweet, savory, delightful, a cold contrast to every other sensation. The heavy lids of my eyes began to part, and I took in the room. I was hanging from my feet by a rope in a dingy basement. Beneath me was an old porcelain tub. It was filled with blood, which dripped down from the ear-to-ear open wound on my neck. Why am I not dead? It was the only thought in my head. Even it would be silenced as I heard a door creak open. Light poured down from the staircase in the corner of the room. The sole of a shoe clacked against the top wooden step. It creaked. Another step followed, then another, then another, then another. Each time the wood step screeched. I could barely see as blood had run into one.